I've been playing Destiny since 2015, when my friend Alex bought me the Taken King so we could play it together. I had always been an incredible fan of Bungie, I'd played all the Halo games, but I was not really prepared for the stranglehold this game would have on me for the next 10 years. A few months ago, Destiny had a crossover with Dungeons & Dragons. New armor sets, new sparrows, and my new favorite emote. But this wasn't enough for me. I needed to play Destiny as a tabletop role-playing game. This idea came to me right after the final shape, so it was the middle of summer. I had a lot of free time, so I was deciding, what classes should I include, what spells, what weapons, and it was going to be a lot of work until my friend suggested this. What if somebody already did all that work? That single question led me to Dungeons & Destiny, created by Velvet Fang. And today I'm going to show you the actual first crossover between Dungeons & Dragons and Destiny that's been ongoing for 6 years. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can jump in and start playing within a few hours of watching this video. Eyes up, Guardian. Howdy folks, my name is Sean and welcome back to Delver. The more that I make these videos, the more that I'm realizing I'm like falling into the YouTuber voice. Dungeons & Destiny, or otherwise known as D&Destiny, is a full system conversion of D&D 5e that includes new races, classes, new subclasses, and a full rework of the core mechanics of 5th edition. It's kind of like the Fallout conversion that was created by XP to level 3. It keeps a lot of the base mechanics like modifiers and saving throws and rolling d20s, and adds in a full rework of game-specific mechanics. Brand new class rules, an entirely new hit point and shield system, and a complete overhaul of weapons along with customization of them. This is, for all intents and purposes, a brand new game, but if you've played 5th edition before, you're going to have a much easier time kind of getting into it. Plus, a lot of the new additions are actually compatible with any other 5e game. You could rip an 𝐒𝐲 from this setting and slam it into Faerun if you really wanted to.
If you've ever played 5e before, then you know how to make a character for Dungeons & Destiny.
That is Kitty. She is the co-owner of Velvet Fang and the creator of D&Destiny.
There are a couple things that are on the surface level, not going to seem very different between the two systems, but they actually have a lot of cascading effects.
After I found the free-to-use PDF of D&Destiny, and yes, it is completely 100% free, I learned that Velvet Fang and Kitty run a West March style server to get people into the game and playing it if they don't have a group around them to run it. Now you might ask what a West March is. I would recommend watching the Matt Colville video on it, but if you want a really simple description, it allows you and dozens of other players to exist in a world or a guild. In this instance, it's the Vanguard, and you choose missions as they become available, and when you have time available to play them, and you get to play with a host of different characters and different people, and honestly, it's the closest that D&D or any kind of tabletop RPG gets to an MMO style game like World of Warcraft or, yes, Destiny.
I'm just going to pretend this is one of my normal Welcome to D&Destiny classes, and you're just a bunch of randos who showed up in the server, and I don't know any of you guys.
When I contacted Kitty, she actually offered to run us through a game of D&Destiny run by herself. How could I refuse? So we made 3rd level characters and got ready to jump into the Devil's Lair.
I like that Awoken always vaguely aware of where
Marasov is
Yeah.
at all times. Yeah.
It's your Mara compass.
You sense her at the reef, and then all of a sudden, right behind you, you're like... Alex and I, at least, are going to be creating our D1 that eventually became our D2 characters. For me, at least, I'm going to be choosing Night Stalker Hunter.
And I will be a Voidlock. A Voidwalker Warlock.
I'm going to be honest, going through character creation for this system was a lot. Now granted, most of that time was spent making macros on Roll20 just so we could click and get the results for anything that we did in the game, but all in all, that took 3 hours to do. When you get into a new system and a new game, it is going to have a pretty steep learning curve right at the start. And if you don't believe me, just think back to the first time you played D&D. You probably had somebody guiding you, but it was still a lot of information to take on all at once. For myself, the first time playing D&D, it took me nearly 2 hours to make a 1st level character because I had no idea what any of it meant. With D&Destiny, however, I had a very strange feeling as I went through character creation. Here I was, playing D&D 5th edition, the game I have played for almost 10 years, as long as I've played Destiny, but I felt way more engaged. I felt like something new was appearing, even though it felt familiar. And that feeling would pay off in a big way very soon. Chance is going to look back at Lucian as we're entering this room. All I'm saying is I wasn't expecting you to get on top of the bar top.
Listen, there was a lot of alcohol involved. Everything just sort of happened at the time.
I'm surprised your
nothing-
ghost even let the alcohol affect you.
Emily, you are playing Lucian's ghost, so.
Listen, a fun time's a fun time.
See, they get it.
All of a sudden, Spur appears over Orion's shoulder and goes, "Well, I know my way around a bar here and there, so ain't nothing too crazy about what happened last night. In fact, I think you went a little soft on us, Lucian."
I think you were also leaking oil that entire time.
Is that what was running down your leg?
Commander Zavala.
The first thing I noticed was that the Devil's Lair strike that Kitty had prepared for us was so accurate to the actual strike. Before we joined this session with Kitty, we actually played through the Devil's Lair a handful of times to get footage for this video. Wouldn't it be fun if we played through this, but we did the mid 2010s Ubisoft audio? We're like, on your left! Oh, guys, let him pass, let him pass! But it really cemented how accurate the portrayal of combat and the mechanics and the surrounding area of D&Destiny was to the actual Devil's Lair strike. Specifically, the map and the objectives were so accurate, and we kind of already had a visual of what that looked like in our heads, that it really brought the space to life in our imaginations. We knew this place, we knew this mission, and we knew what we needed to scan. What are these in front of us?
Those are the things that we let our ghost scan.
I know what they are, Alex. I'm asking.
Okay,
The Fallen know where you are inside the facility, and they are coming to attack you. So now we are going to enter combat.
Combat in D&Destiny is really fast-paced. I would even say more fast-paced than Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't really capture that godlike, overpowered feel that Destiny really is known for, but it did strike a very unique balance between making things really powerful and really unique to the characters without making us that kind of broken godlike state, giving us a challenge at every opportunity that it had. The damages at 3rd level for us were fairly low. We weren't putting out a lot of damage, but kind of in the scale of that, the enemies didn't have a lot of hit points.
So that is 4 plus 8 for a total of a very dead drag. That was their drag. They don't have much.
The new abilities and classes as well added a whole other suite of different ideas that kind of went into our characters. I, for example, was playing a Night Stalker, and not gonna lie, I was kind of hamming it up. As it shoots, he combat rolls backwards, and as he does, he lets out his void grenade directly at it. I stick it right down the barrel, or right at the barrel of his gun.
Our Vandal is having a very bad time. It is prone. It just took a bunch of damage.
Defeating the last of the waves and getting through the scan and getting through the rest of the dungeon, we finally arrived at an all too familiar sight of a fallen walker in our path. This monster was no joke, as my friend Emily would very quickly find out.
Oh boy.
Walker turn.
Me watching the walker solo target Amy.
Yeah, really good opportunity to teach you guys how revives work. Do you want to know how much, or do you just want to die?
Let's see.
I want to see. I like
It's
to know the
a-
numbers.
It's a pretty low roll at only 60 explosive solar damage.
This was a monumental foe to go against, and its ability to summon Shanks at will, as well as having 2 hit point pools to take from and kind of get new abilities as one was depleted, it was really, really awesome.
Walker or Shanks?
Shanks.
Shanks. Okay. I will also use my other Depth of the Void to overchannel light.
Ooh, and maximize the amount of damage done. I'm gonna
Yes.
recommend not doing that. So the Walker is classified as an ultra creature. You'll notice here it has 2 bars of health.
Mhm.
These on an ultra creature, this is not shields and health. This is its first hit point pool and its second hit point pool. There is a damage cutoff on the first pool.
I
There's
see.
no-
Okay.
Carry over.
Yeah,
It's
there's
our
no
scripted
carryover.
shield phase. I think this is one of the bosses that has scripted shield phases.
This concept of an ultra monster or an ultra beast astounded me. When I asked Kitty what this idea was, she told me that this was actually a concept that her and Velvet Fang had been developing for a very long time. We even used it, or I guess I used it, as one of the final bosses of our High Haven campaign as we're kind of winding down toward the end. Furthermore, you can get an older version of this rule set on DriveThruRPG right now for $5 to $10. This isn't a sponsor. There is a sponsor later, but this isn't it. But if you'd like to, the link is in the description. Finishing off the walker, we continued on to the all too familiar boss room. And an all too familiar boss for people who have played Destiny for a long time, 𝐒𝐵𝐋. A legendary action.
𝐒𝐵𝐋.
Oh! So began an incredible and difficult fight to destroy 𝐒𝐵𝐋 Prime. Added on to because I requested dregs because I thought that would be more fun. Do we see any like dregs or anything coming in as well, or just these?
Would you like the dregs?
I want the dregs.
Oh, no.
Let's go for
Because
it.
we can do reinforcements too.
Let's go.
Oh, you guys are basically in a Nightfall version of this at 3rd level.
The fight was difficult, but we managed to survive it. I even got to use my Night Stalker ultimate, which is the quiver, which actually ended up destroying 𝐒𝐵𝐋 because another ultimate procced it by killing someone, and then it did damage to 𝐒𝐵𝐋, and he only had that many hit points left.
Almost one-shot 𝐒𝐵𝐋.
And the
That
wait,
guy's dead.
well, the other question then, the dreg up here died, so then can I activate it?
You could, yes. And if you roll a 2...
That's 5.
Okay.
Yeah!
Jesus God!
And with that, we finished our first session of Dungeons and Destiny. So, what did we think? Playing this game scratched an itch that I didn't know that I had. You see, just before we played this, my friends and I had just finished the final shape, and we were looking for something to kind of fill that empty hole. We had, we'd done all the side quests, we had done the exotic quests. We wanted something a little more Destiny, and we had to wait a few weeks for any additional content to come out. The story, for all intents and purposes, was done. But we wanted something sustainable, something we could do long term. There were going to be other expansions and other seasons for Destiny coming out, or what do they call it? They're echoes now. But this experience with Kitty was just, it did something for us. I mean, you got to consider, I started playing Destiny before I started playing D&D, and D&D is pretty much all I do now. And then all of a sudden, these two worlds were colliding into one beautiful moment.
Playing this in a TTRPG setting, but having the visual references of knowing what Destiny even looks like. So even if it doesn't necessarily play exactly like it, I can imagine very clearly exactly how things are happening.
My going into this, I was like, I love Destiny, I love D&D. I'm curious how this kind of balances out. And it ended up balancing perfectly. Yeah, I was blown away by this, genuinely. Do I think that you should play this game? Absolutely. Even if you haven't played Destiny, even if you haven't played D&D, this just brings together something really special. Plus, Kitty and her team have been hard at work on 2nd edition after this game has been out and played for 6 years. And their dedication and love toward the project really comes out.
We love the video game. We would not be doing this. I would not be here 4,000 hours later if I did not love the video game. We don't really make money on this. We do have a Patreon and we take donations from that, but it's not enough to afford a full-time game developer's salary. We'll just say that. We're doing it because we love it, and we're doing it because we love the universe and we want to have another way of interacting with that universe.
Now, you can find D&Destiny in the link in the description, but if you do a quick Google search as well for Velvet Fang or D&Destiny, it's going to pop up immediately. Furthermore, I highly recommend that you check out Velvet Fang's The Deck of Possibilities. They are system agnostic, meaning they don't really belong to any one system, adventure cards. You can use them to reward your players, you can make travel a little bit more interesting, and it can even help you with session prep and making it a little bit easier to manage without kind of ripping away creative control from you as a dungeon master. Now, I told you the sponsored segment would come up, and yes, that was the sponsored segment, but I do want to be clear, I'm not making any money off of this. The most that I get for talking about that is maybe that Ultra Beast book for free. I don't know. Like, we're already showing D&Destiny and gonna lead people that way. You guys could sponsor the video too, and we could talk about this and throw this as like the actual, like another thing they can go to.
I would have to check our budget for that because
This would be
another
free.
sponsor doing. Oh, you would really?
This would be 100% free.
I think the most you would ask for is access to the book without having to pay for it.
I mean, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, sure.
Pick it up and whip it at your head. Jesus Christ.
The main focus of my channel has been, and I believe always will be, to support and enrich and show people awesome shit. And sometimes I do that with really no clear incentive for me. And whenever I do that, I want to be as clear and transparent as I can, because I fear that there is this kind of stigma that people in my position kind of abuse that power and kind of send people toward things that they don't really believe in. I want to make it clear that I don't do that. I really love the things that I talk about on this channel, and I love them because they're awesome. And some people are going to see this video as one big ad for D&Destiny, which it absolutely is, because I love this project and I found it naturally and I really wanted to talk about it. And this project could use you as a supporter, either financially or just as a player. That's the whole video. Again, I want to give a huge special thank you to Kitty and the team at Velvet Fang for really helping us put all this together and getting to play it, as well as just making a kick-ass product. And if you do want to play this new system, I highly recommend going to the Discord link in the description, joining the West March, and getting to play with a bunch of other new players. I'll see you guys next time.
Have fun never being invited to a Sean video again.
This is your audition. Sink or swim.
I've been doing a song of the day for the last, or since the first, and I feel like you would enjoy some of them. Would you like to know what the song of the day was on the 4th of July?
Made in the USA.
No.
Chapel Roan.
Yes, it was our new national anthem, Hot to Go.
How dare you not give me best dressed.